Yes, we are live now. Sona, you can introduce yourself.
Hello, guys, and welcome to day one of the workshop. And myself and Aravind are the members of the TCOL here to contribute our knowledge to you guys. And let me introduce myself. I'm working in Apiria Technology startup based out of Bangalore, and I have worked with the various tech stacks Mean, Month, Spring, and to name some. And we are here to share these texts to you guys so that you may get clarified when you step into the industry or whatever at the time. Okay. And the reason for the we have planned for this workshop is to give you an idea like how to approach software engineering in your career and to choose your job in the industry, to give a perfect title for your job. You may not need to work we many of us may think class programming is only in the IT. Apart from this, there are lots and lots of field. We are here to share you those things. Yeah, Arun, can you introduce yourself?
Yep. Thanks for the introduction, Sona. As for myself, I'm Aravind, uh, working as an UI UX developer at RADICALi Singapore. So I basically design products and work with the development team to bring, very good user experiences. So uh, when I was in your age, when I was a student, there was nobody who was able to help me out to figure out what my career options are. And I took the hard way out, and then I figured out things on my own, right? So the main motive of giving you guys this session, as Sona told, is basically to help you guys out and then give information about what and how you can approach software engineering or web development for that matter. But yeah, that's a brief introduction about myself and this workshop. Yep.
Yeah.
Over to you, Sona.
Let, thank you. Yeah, and before starting the getting into the topic, let me tell you let's make this workshop as an interactive one. If you guys find something I'm wrong, you can stop me anywhere. Okay. Yeah. Let me share my screen. Is this visible, guys? Is this visible?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Let me ask you a question like, what is software engineering? We all heard about something. Someone says something, and you may read somewhere something. And do you know what exactly software engineering is? You can unmute yourself and talk. It's nothing wrong. You can unmute yourself if anyone wishes to answer. Okay, fine. Yeah, okay. We all know that engineering is building something, right? And the same way software engineering is also building something, building a software. It's a piece of software. At the end of the software engineering, you may get the output like a website or web app or mobile app or a game or whatever things. This is called a software engineering in simple words. Okay. uh, we all think that if we code something, we can get a web page or web app or something like that. But it's not the case. Behind the scenes, there are lots and lots of people involved, like designing, then structuring, then DB designing, then architecture. There are lots of people involved in those things. We are gonna discuss about this in a later part. Yeah. Yeah, as I told before itself, I'm a software engineering working in Apiria Technologies, uh, and I do work in various fields like Spring Boot, React, Mean, and Node.js, and here to share my knowledge to you guys. Alright?
Yep. Uh, yep. Sorry for the delay. As I told you guys before, I am Aravind, working as an UI UX developer and designer at RADICALi Singapore. So primarily, I will be talking to you guys in very much detail tomorrow about ways to, choose your career and choose your career path, carve out it, right? But today's session will be basically Sona's session, and I'll speak to you guys tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, again coming to the part like software engineering, what's it? Can anyone unmute or shall I randomly unmute someone and ask them to answer? And just give your own thought what software engineering is. Mm, shall I unmute Ashtush? Ashtush? No response. Okay, thank you. Manigandan? Okay, fine.
Guys,
Okay.
please be interactive so that it becomes a pleasant experience for each and every one of us. Don't be shy. Like
Yeah.
we are just 7 people here, and
Yeah, if
you
not
haven't
here,
like
where?
turned on your cameras.
Yeah. Can you guys do this for us?
My apologies, I was not able to unmute. Sona, can you ask the question again? You want to understand what is software engineering from us?
Yeah, yeah. And thanks, Ashtush, for
So,
giving a response for to us. And you can share your thoughts, what you think about software engineering.
okay, so I will just like to add a few points over there. Like you said, that what is engineering. So you said to build something, and software engineering would be to build some software product or software, anything. It could be either website, app, and all that. That's what you mentioned. However, I would like to add that there is much more to software engineering if one can go deep dive. Okay, so it could be like I can say it's a science and art. It could be where we are dealing with the softwares. Okay, so software. I mean, like I don't want to go deep down into software, but just to give a basic idea, like this could be a software engineering.
Okay, it was a great answer, Ashtush. And is anyone other wish to answer this question? What your perspective about software engineering? Just be open. It's just 7 to 8 members here. We can be interactive. Okay, let me get into the next slide. Yeah, as Ashtush told, we'll be developing something, and as myself told the same. And for software developing, there are lots and lots of ways. Without a plan, also we can develop with a plan, with the need structure and everything. There are lots and lots of ways to build a software. One such two methodologies are waterfall model and agile model. Hope everyone has a idea like how we would build a software, and same thing happens here too. Like while taking the waterfall model on the one hand, on the other hand taking the agile model, we'll be gathering the requirements from the client and jotting it out what are the requirements, and then doing a design, and then doing an implementation, and then a testing run goes on, and then the code should be maintained till the end the project is live. And this is what happens in the waterfall model, but it's not the same case in agile model. It happens iteratively. What's the main difference between the waterfall model and the agile model is, we if the requirements are well prepared, well clear, and if it's not going to change at any time till the end of the project, it's the best thing to choose the waterfall model. Because if we get down to next step, it's too hard to go into the previous step and do the steps again from the top. It also costs more when compared to this agile model. So based on your requirements, based on the requirements of the application, and based on the requirements of the client, it differs to choose what model to be used. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. What now getting into the web development, the next part of the software engineering. Software engineering is, as I told before, it's building a product, it's building a website or something. And the same thing applies to web development also. It's like if you see some pages like it's some forms, everything comes under the web development. If it's a website, you see Wikipedia, it comes under the web development. Whatever the website you see, it comes under web development. Okay. And if the website can be a static one, a dynamic one, or or so on. Okay, and using these three things you can build an awesome website with, like if you see you do have, you have seen many companies like the Apple website or something like that. You can build the same thing. I'm not sure like what the technology the Apple has used to build their website, but the same way we can build a website of how the Apple, we can do a Xerox copy of the Apple website using these three things. And what's a drawback here? Is there any drawback? I'll raise a question here, like whether HTML, JS, and CSS is totally enough to build whatever websites or whatever web applications. No, the answer is a big no. Yeah, these are, there are lots of questions rising on my mind, like where do I save my data, like how to access the data, how can I secure my data, and how to process my data. There are lots of questions, but these three things can't answer any of the single question, since it can build a static website. Yeah, and to avoid this, to answer all these questions, here comes the part called the front end and the back end technologies. Yeah, using these things, there are lots of framework libraries for the front end and back end to build the awesome website you wish. And just giving a small intro, like for what's HTML, what CS, and what JS. Okay, let's assume something like we are building or constructing a building. If we do we wish to live in a building without a paint or any decorations? No, the raw building is called the HTML. That was the constructing the lines, what are the lines we want. And to add the beautiness to that building, the here comes the CSS role. The CSS add the, it gives the styles to the object, or gives the styles to the page, gives styles to the building, everything the CSS does. And is this enough to build? No. We then the JS comes into the part like JavaScript. The website should be interactive, right? If we click somewhere, it should go some to, it should be navigated to some other page. Just assume a lift in a building. Whether there's a 14th floor building, there should be some lift to be operated. Those operated things is done by the help of the JS. Okay. Yeah, and is this enough to access? Is this the these three things, the HTML, CSS, and JS? Is this enough to access the backend DB? No, there should be at least something, some middleware things to be accessed to the backend. Like as we go get into the bank or something, we need to, if we want to see some higher officials, before that we have to face some middle standing peoples. Similar the way we have to cross the backend to access the DB. The same thing happens here too. Like backend is something like which gives a bridge between the front end and the DB. Yeah, as I told before, there are lots of web development technology. I have mentioned some of the few things which is being now in the market. Like if you know any of few things from here, you can definitely get a job. I'm damn sure like most of the companies will be using some, at least a single or two techs in this. Okay, so if you wanna guys to get a job or in the market, if you want to learn something new, get dive into this, because it gives a lots of opportunities for you to get into a better place. And using the Java, we can write server rendered applications and also client rendered applications. Let me know, ask a question like what is server rendered and what is client rendered? Do you guys have any idea of what is server rendered and what is client rendered? If not, just drop no. Shall I ask someone? Yeah, Monish. Hey guys, I'm very sorry. There was a network issue over here.
Yeah. Coming back to the question, does anybody of you guys know what is a server rendered application versus a client rendered application? Anyone? Uh, Monish, can you say, do you have any idea about what a server rendered versus what a client rendered application is? Anyone? Yeah. Can you just unmute and then just say what you basically think? Yeah, I can see guys chatting in the chat window, but it will be better if you guys can like speak up. Anyone?
Yeah, and if you wish to unmute someone, you can unmute them and ask to talk.
Yep. Let me ask Monish to unmute. Yep. Ajit Kumar as well. What Ajit Kumar is saying is it's a software framework that transforms data to provide specialized functionality offered by a business service or application. That's partially correct. Uh, but what really is client rendered versus a server rendered is not exactly what you're trying to say.
Okay. Let me tell you what's a server render and what's a client render. Let's assume you are well known about the JSP, right? It is categorized into the server rendered cause the backend, front end, everything, the connection to DB, everything will be clogged into a single folder and then displayed to the and then it will be rendered. This is called as a server render. And coming back to the client rendering, the AngularJS, taking AngularJS into part and the React.js or something like that, it will be client render. The front end, the back end, and the DB, everything will be separated, and it also gives a good stability, good maintainability, everything. So it's wise to choose client rendering applications instead of the server render applications while building your website. Okay. Yeah, as I told before, here we are discussing the technologies. What are the server rendered and what are the client rendered? Uh, as I told before, the JSP Java, it's a server rendered because it the front end, back end, and everything will be clocked together and then rendered on the browser. And then the Python, the PHP, everything, and also the React.js and AngularJS falls under the client rendering. Yeah. Can we kickstart into a React? Is anyone interested in learning React? Vigor? Guys, do respond.
Let's just, yeah,
Yeah,
just drop in a message in chat,
yeah.
or you have the S button as well so that we can know.
Or
Awesome.
just raise your hand.
Two responses till now.
Yeah, yeah. Good.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, we are good to go. Let me show you a small coding like how React and Node together works in a browser. Okay, just give me 2 seconds, guys. Yeah, guys. Can you able to see my screen? Yeah. Let me create a two folders called a server for server rendering, server for the backend, and there's another thing called a client for the front end. Sorry, okay. The client can be created later using the React app. Yeah. Before getting into the server thing, Node.js, I'll let you know what Node.js is. It's a runtime environment. It's used for building the various backend you can run Express.js in the Node.js. Okay. It will be useful for building CPU intensive applications, and also there are lots of advantages over it. Let me create an index file. It's similar to the main file in Java. Okay. Yeah. And as I told before, we are gonna create an Express app. These are the commands for importing library package. Before, while doing it in Pala, you can also install the packages which you need. And this hyphen save is for adding your package to the package.json. Yeah, and also this one. The next thing is using this Express, you are gonna create an app. Yeah, and and the next comes in the cost thing. The as you know, or everyone knows, like there will be some security concerns for every technologies. Similar to that, Node.js also provides some security concerns. It won't allow everyone from the front end accessing the APIs. So we are gonna add something like cost. It's a cross origin resource. Okay. Yeah, this cost you can also make an npm install for the cost. Yeah, this costing. And the next comes this app should use the cost. Okay. Yeah, app.use cost will allow the Node.js to use the cost. Okay, and also we have to mention in which port we are gonna run the backend application. That's the thing we are gonna mention. Like you can give any numbers like 4,000, 3,000, or 180, whatever you wish to. And next thing is you are gonna build an API. Before building an API, you can make the port to listen in something, and here within these things you can check whether your server has been started running or not. The command for running your application is it's node space index.js. Yeah, I can see something like server started on port 4000. Yeah, so our application has now been started. We can test some APIs get APIs or put APIs or something like that. Now we can test app.get. If it's a slash thing, we can add some request and response to it. Sorry. Yeah, there's every API hits as some request and response similar to this, and this API also has a request and response. We can just console it or response dot send. Okay. Hello world. Yeah. Now if I go and check on the browser, is my browser visible?
No, it isn't.
Okay. Is it now visible?
Yep.
Yeah, we are given the port 4000. Yeah, we got hello world here. This is what then writing an API. We have written something related to get, and also you can use various HTTP methods like get, put, post, delete, and lot based on your requirements of the API. And now we are gonna access this API from the React.js. We can create some application for React.js. Okay, the command for creating the React.js application is npx create hyphen react hyphen app space our app name. It just take a bit time. Okay, I do have some routing dependency, so it's not allowing me to create. Okay, let me take some other files which is already there. Yeah, I have moved something which has been already created because it's not allowing me to create cause asking some routing permissions. Okay, now I show you like there'll be created a client folder, the name which we give, and also public folder and also source folder, and along with the package JSON and readme. Okay, and also git ignore. Okay, uh, getting into the point like if we run, it has been modified. Okay, let me create an. Okay. Okay, let me explain what this application does. Okay, if you do this command, it might surely come in your system. So like npx create react hyphen app and the app name. Yeah, app name. And after that, you can get into some like cd into client and give npm start. And that's it. Your React application starts off. Yeah, the application will let it start, and within the meantime, I'll let you know like what I have done here. Why, at first, if you want to add some css to your application, you can add the. Hope everyone is aware of the bootstrap, right? A css library. This is what the bootstrap is, and I have copied this line for the css, and for some javascript functionalities I have copied this and pasted over the index.html file over here. Okay, and these are these things and these things. And if you want to change the title of your application, it will be previously a react hyphen app, and if you can customize it to your according to you. Okay, and then and this is what you have to do in the index.html page. And if you want to add some meta tags, everything can be done, yeah, as you do in a normal html page. Yeah. And coming to the app.js, this is the main part of your React application. Everything starts from the app. Within the app, you can call some other component, or you can write a code here itself. I have written the code here itself to make it as simple, not to confuse you guys. And this is there are basically two things in React. One is the class component and another is the function component. The class component can be used somewhere like if you want to maintain a state for everything, and if you want something like that, you can. Before that, I'll let you know what state is. State is something like it's been a variable, you can store the values. It should be available, be accessible throughout the component. And in later versions, React brought state even into the functional component. So, and as it told you already, the app is the main part, root part of the React application. So we have done everything over here. Like functional component is something like you should have a written a JSX element. JSX element is something like HTML code, HTML code and the JavaScript code binding together. It's called the JSX, and these JSX can be written in the React. And the main advantage of using the React is this one. And here you have to bind everything inside a div component, because you have to return a single JX from a component. And this is nothing much like I have took this form from the Bootstrap. Yeah, this form from the Bootstrap and pasted it over here. And I have changed, customized to my like number one and number two. And I have added like in normal functions in JavaScript or in C++, whatever, we'll be doing some on change, right? Like if we click something, this should happen. If we change something, this should happen. Something like that. And the same way applies here too. If we change something in the number one, yeah, everything will be changed. Will be the action will be done here. And what is this is, as I told you, like these are the state variables in functional component. Use state is something like React brought into existence later, like similar to class component. We can also maintain the state in the functional component, and this is what the use state does. And you can add something like the value one, value two. These are the things which is these are the variables, and using these variables, you can access to the entire component. And initially I have kept it as 0, and the response thing is what backend sends is I am storing it using this state variable. Okay. And yeah, and on each chain the set value of 1 will be, I have set at the value of value 1, because like assume this is as a, assume like value 1 is a variable, and set value 1 is the function for setting the value of the value 1. And similar thing for the value 2 and the response. And we are set value, making it look like a function, and e dot target dot value is being set to the now set value 1, then it automatically sets to value 1. And the similar thing for the set value 2. So whenever you change the value 1 or value 2 in the UI, automatically it gets stored to the value 1 variable, and sorry, the value 1 and value 2 state variables. Yeah. And if we click on the add to add get some or something, this is the button I kept, like on click, we are writing an on click event, like I have to call this function get some. What this get some does, yeah, I am writing a function to call hit the API which is designed in the backend to get my some response. Okay. And as you know, like if you are familiar with Angular or something like different kind rendering applications, you might have used the HTTP for hitting the API. Similar to that, the Axios also plays a role. It's a HTTP, simply it's a simple HTTP client. Okay. And using this Axios, we are constructing a JSON, and this JSON consists of the URL. The URL is nothing but what are the things we are gonna pass into this. And this base URL is like, now how this URL is gonna get constructed is like, it's a get method which I mentioned here. The method is get, and the base URL. The base URL is something like HTTP localhost 4000, and after that these things will come to existence. Now the API looks like HTTP colon slash slash localhost 4000 slash the value 1 and the value 2. How this value 1 and value 2 can be accessed, as I told you before, this value 1 and value 2 is a state variables. You can use the entire application, the state variables. Yeah, so I have passed this value 1 and value 2 in the URL, and based on this thing it hits the API. So we have to design some API related to that. If it matches the corresponding parameters, if the body requirements, everything, only then it hits that API and brings back the result. So now we have to get back to the server side, as now there is no value 1 and value 2. We have to give a value 1 and value 2 to get those values. Okay, this value and value 2. Let's make a console log. Okay, not a console log. let's make a response. Since value 1, value 2, we are not sure like whether it comes on an integer or a string or whatever, or float or whatever. It's a safe side to make it a passing. Yeah, now we are gonna send this response to the client. Yeah, now let me restart the server. Yeah, if I give some values in this URL, sorry, in the UI, it hits automatically hits this API and brings me the response here, and it prints in the console log response. Okay. There are two ways to check your APIs. Like you can build your UI and then check, but it's not a good habit to check in that way. Instead, there are lots of API checkings like Postman or something like that. You can use them and check it. Let me show you. I think it's running in 3001. Yeah, this thing got is we have built. And if I give something like 2 and 4, what happens here is let's check in the network tab. If I click get some, it hits okay, something here. It's a 500. Value 1. Okay, got it. Okay. Okay, now we cannot take this value 1 and value 2 from the params as it is. There's just some, we are, so because we are getting those value 1 and value 2 from the request, so it is necessary to add request dot params, so as we are getting it from the parameters. If you're passing it as a body, you can mention it as request dot body dot value 1 value 2. Since we are passing it as a parameter as of now, it is mandatory to put params. Now we can check it. Again error. Okay, I think the JSON format which we are sending is again we can send. Yeah, also I have to mention here like you can send some status code along with you. You can make something like try or catch. We can make it more stable like try. If there is a response, you can send like with along with the status code. Based on this status code, you can segregate it in the front end. Like if the status code is 500, you can throw some errors, customized errors like some alert box or some pop-ups or something like that. If it's a success thing, we are sending it like this. And we are mentioning it as a success true, and the sum is like a response. And if there is a try block, there must be a mandatory cache block over here. And for the same thing, we have to mention the status code as a 500 cause it's a error thing comes under the catch. And we can send something the success message as these things are the customized message like as we and the message is something we can give something like error. Okay, and checking it now. Yeah, it's 100, right? We got it. And similarly, we can add lots of APIs for put, and put mainly put is used for some updation thing, and post is used for some creation thing, and we have to use those HTTP methods wisely. And we can also use a get thing to be get HTTP method for creation, but it's not a wise thing to be used. And coming back to here, And yeah, these state variables will persist in your application until the application gets refreshed or application is stopped. Until that, these variables will be persist in your application. Yeah, and do you guys have any doubt in this? Guys, do you have any doubt? Just yes or no.
Anyone like can basically do it via chat as well. Just let us
Yeah.
know if you need, if you guys have any doubts, or if you need to like still deep dive into some other stuff. No one?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get into it. Yeah. And after these things, getting into the main part, like it's a git. Everyone works in a project, right? It's not mandatory one should alone work in a project. It's not at all the case anywhere. So it is necessary to manage the code. Like let's assume someone like I'm working in some part of the code and you are working on some part of the code and Aravind is working on some other part of the code. At the end of the day, it's too difficult to manage if there is no such existence called git. So we have to maintain a code like I can remote changes, I can push the remote changes or pull the remote changes. What you do, I can get on my local. What I do, you can pull it on your local. And this is what git is. Okay, there are lots of commands like git add init and I don't want to dig in deeper into it. I just want to share you what git is and what it's apart from the programming language, whatever thing. Git is the main thing we have to learn before entering into the IT industry. Yeah. And if everyone has a dream company, right? Even I do had someday. And you do have guys have a dream to work on some companies like maybe it's a MNC or startup or wherever. It's up to your wish. Can I know what's your dream company, guys? Can someone give an answer? Before that, let's categorize into two things like if you wanna work under some reputed companies like Apple, Microsoft, or something, we can categorize them into MNCs, and on the other hand, we can categorize into startups like small companies just now starting or something like that. Just tell me where you guys wanna work. What's your dream company? It can be more specific, like what others say is good for me. It's not at all the case. What you think? You guys, any of you wish to answer for this one?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can.
guys, let's answer in chat only. Uh, everybody, like there are multiple companies, guys, like uh,
Yeah,
Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, uh, or do you want to work in a startup, right? So entirely depends on you guys. Okay, we have one response from Manikandan.
yeah,
Manikandan wants to work at Google. Very nice, very good ambition.
yeah. Another?
Sorry.
Another? Can you answer? Okay, I think it's in. Okay, fine, fine. Okay, okay. Let me show you, tell you like what are benefits you get while working on a startup and what are the benefits you get while working on the MNC. Okay, uh, there is no shame like telling a company name which is not at all in which is not at all aware. It's not a shame. Like there are lots and lots of ways for earning money. Like it's not necessary to be here to earn money. So coming into the part, like there are pros and cons for both the things, like working in MNC and working in a startup. First of all, let me compare both things. What are things you get and what are things you don't get when compared while comparing those both things on both hands. Yeah, first building the basement. Okay, if you are a fresher, you should utilize at least 2 to 3 years of your career in working in a startup. That is what the knowledge gathering I mean. Because I'll discuss about it in a later part. Like there are infinite ways of, as I told you before, there are infinite ways for earning money. But learning is what we need to do as of now. So learning should be done at this part. Because if you're starting a career, it is necessary to gain your knowledge at this part. Yeah. And the second point is the work split up. Well, taking into existence like both MNC has a project and the startup also has a project on both of the hands. Like what MNC does is they split up each and everything into small modules, and on the other hand, startup splits into modules, not the small cost. What the drawback over there is there will be no lots of people working under single project. There will be small amount of people, so we have to split the work between among those people. So those modules won't be split up into tiny one as MNCs do. So what you get here is you can get lots of experience in working various modules, and you can have hands-on experience in various technologies. And uh, the same thing you can't get in the MNCs. Like as they split up the works, you'll be given a single part of the module. While working on a single part of the module, you can't get the experience of like what the other techs, other tools, you won't be allowed to use those things in the project. So it's at this point focusing on this thing, like you be benefited at this case while if you're working in a startup. Yeah. And next thing is you can learn from legends. And what is this is there'll be people hired in the startup based on their skill set and not on their college marks, or not on their aptitude marks, and not on the way of dressing, way of speaking, or not at all. And but MNCs do it. They'll be seeing everything, and on the other hand, the startups never see those such things, and they'll be concentrating only purely on the skill set you have. So people working there also have lots of exposure to lots of skill set. So while you talking to them, you can also get a mutual benefit. You can share the knowledge what you have, and you can get the knowledge what they have. And seeing the MNC, you don't have you don't have those kind of contacts. Like if you are in a team, you will be communicating with the people in your team. So it will not be the case as in the same the startup. Like you can't communicate with the people those who don't have you can't communicate with the people, other team peoples, like as you do in your teams. So at this point also the startup wins again. And the exposure to diverse technology, as I told you before, there'll be lots of resource for the MNCs, and there is a less amount of resource in the startups. And coming here is having lots of resource does not make your knowledge to grow. And you won't be having experience in the tools or technologies apart from you work. And it's not the same case in startups. There you can have lots of hands-on experience. You can be you can play multiple roles as you wish. Like you can be a designer, you can be a developer, you can be an architect, you can be a product manager. Yeah, everything can be done by a single person, and you can gain lots and lots of experience from that. And after that, if you go out and search for an MNC job, it will be no one can beat you at that point. Yeah. And coming to the point, like that as everything has a pros and cons, as every coin has a both sides, similar thing happens here too. Startup also has some drawbacks. Until this point the startup win, and now startup also had some drawbacks. I'll mention it to you. There'll be lots of works in the startup. If and if you are a workaholic person, it's not at all a problem for you. You can enjoy working day night everything. And also there be a stress sometimes, but if you can manage it, you can shine up at a higher level where you can't even imagine. And and the another drawback is that you can't get a lot of salary as you expect in the MNC. But as I told you before, there are infinite ways for earning, but not the learning thing. Learning thing happens at some specific time period. Yeah. And the next thing is Now you guys decide where you wanna work, whether you wanna go inside a startup or you wanna get inside a MNC. If you want knowledge purely, you can dive into it working for a startup. Yeah, and yeah, and coming to the last thing, you guys may not be aware of what are the different roles in the industry. There can be a application developer, like you see here, the game developer, the web developer. There are lots of. It's not only purely about the coding. Wherever, if it's a software engineering, lots of the people thinks like it's only a coding. It's not at all the case. There will be a designer. Yeah, designer doesn't not need to know about the coding thing. And also there are lots of fields similar to this. You can be a business analyst or something like that, and you can choose for what you want. If you want to be a developer, if you want to build something, you can choose as a mobile developer, app developer, or game developer, whatever you wish to. And if you are interested in creative thinking or stuff like that, you can get into the designer thing and you have a great future for that. Yeah, and coming to the last part, if you guys, it's not only
Uh,
now, if you,
Sona,
yeah.
I like to interrupt you here. We have people asking some questions, which
Okay.
I would like to answer. Uh, the first question is basically from Ajit Kumar. Ajit Kumar asks, nowadays Python is very well growing language, right? And it's also used for backend development. What Ajit Kumar is interested in is he wants to know if Python can be used instead of JavaScript, right? To answer your question, Ajit Kumar, uh, the basis of web browsers is actually JavaScript. Okay. Uh, what I mean by that is uh, all browsers, be it Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Safari, or Mozilla Firefox, Opera, or anything, any web browser that you take for that matter, actually comes with JavaScript inbuilt, right? So to do any action, to do any interaction with the components that you build in your website, you absolutely need JavaScript for that to function, right? So the main reason why JavaScript was built is basically, uh, yeah. So the main reason why JavaScript was built was basically to, like give interactivity to the website, right? Python. So that's something that you guys need to know, right? All languages can do everything. Okay, underline my words. All languages can do everything. Okay, but it's absolutely, it ends at if the language that you are choosing is the right language to do the job, right? You can obviously like use Python for developing websites. That's I mean, nobody is going to stop you there, right? But is it the right language to do that, right? From what I know, uh, only JavaScript is the right language to code websites, right? Python, it's basically for data crunching. It's basically for machine learning. It's basically for artificial intelligence and stuff, right? You can do the same thing with JavaScript as well, but JavaScript isn't very well capable of doing that, right? So Python can also do web development. JavaScript can also do machine learning, right?
Yeah,
But
and
it
also
absolutely,
I want to add a point to this. If you the both things can be done using a Python or JavaScript, whatever. But you have to see your requirements. Like if your application is a CPU intensive application, you should go with the JavaScript. And if your application is a IO intensive application, you must go with the Python. And it differs. We can't always use a Python as I know Python, or always I can use JavaScript as I know JavaScript. It's not at all the case. Based on your requirements, it differs.
well said, Sona. Uh, but Ajit Kumar, does it answer your question? Ajit Kumar?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on then. So we have another question from Eganathan, who is interested in knowing about the scope of full stack developers in the next 5 years. It's a really good question, uh, from what I can see. So full stack development, if you talk at an umbrella level, it's not going to go anywhere. Okay. Uh, it's the same thing. Like, think of something like this, right? Can you live in a world without websites in the next 5 years? If you say yes, then there's no scope for it. If you say no, then there's absolute scope for that, right? So full stack engineering is not going to go anywhere, and it's only going to keep growing and growing, right? So you don't need to worry about the scope in the next 5 years as far as full stack development is concerned. Eganathan, does that answer your question? Awesome, cool. uh, Another question from Manikandan: how should I learn UI UX designing? So there's nothing to learn about designing stuff, right? So what people have the conception nowadays is that if I learn Adobe XD, if I learn Figma, if I learn Sketch, then I am a UI UX designer. It's not that, right? UI UX designing, you can do it in paper itself, right? Just take a piece of paper, draw your screens and everything. You can do it in that way itself, right? It's not about the software. It's about you, right? You as a designer, you need to think how the user experience is going to be for the user, right? So there are obviously like some literature available out in the internet where you can read through rules and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's not the software that you are learning makes you a UI UX designer. So at least in my stuff, at least in my life, I am pretty much a self-taught UI UX designer, right? Uh, which I will come to it tomorrow. Tomorrow we do have a session with me. I will walk you through my entire life story, and you can understand what's important for you as well, right? But
And
uh,
yeah. Okay, go on,
yep,
Arvind.
yes. Uh, yeah, Manikandan, it's what you
Yeah,
are
I
saying.
have
Like
to add one
it
thing
is
to
actually
Manikandan. Yeah, like if you want to become a best UI UX designer, put yourself in a client place. Like you are gonna use this application. You see whether you like this button placed over here, you like this image placed over here. Think in that way, like whether it satisfies me. If it not satisfies you, then it's not the design. Then go on to another one. Okay.
yes, exactly. Well said. But what I mean to say is like, how can you learn UI UX development? You have to feel it to learn it, right? Obviously, like there are some boot camps available which are, like 6 months and 40,000 rupees or 50,000. I have seen boot camps for UI UX development like for 2 lakhs and 3 lakhs, right? I would urge you not to go into that because that's your easiest way to become a UI UX developer. It is the easiest way, but I'm not telling you to go there. Why? Is because what you are going to learn in that particular place is not going to enhance your knowledge. It's just another set of information that they are going to push to your mind. Okay. What I would suggest is learn, like learn yourself. Just know the
When
principles.
yeah,
There are
whenever.
absolutely
Sorry, you go on. Go on.
Yep. There are lots and lots of YouTube videos that are available in the internet where you can like learn the basics of UI UX designing. But it's absolutely your effort and not paying someone 40,000, $50,000 or sorry, rupees to, like learn UI UX development. So bottom line, boiling down everything, put yourselves on the user's shoes. Think of how better you can design stuff. If you don't like the design, then that's not the right design for the user, right? But how do you start? Basically, go to some YouTube videos, figure out what are all the basics of UI UX designing and stuff. Sketch everything out on paper before you actually start to do everything on a software like XD, Figma, Sketch, and everything. Okay.
Okay.
Manikandan, does that answer your question?
Yeah, and also like learning the tool like Figma, Adobe XD, it's not a big deal unless you are not very well known about the design. If you find some free time, you can go. There are lots of sites providing the designs like there are Pinterest and there are lots of sites. You can get into them and look at the random designs. Based on that, when you are gonna design something, you can get some creativity level which you look before what they have done on that page. What can I improve in this one? What can I do? Add a creativity to this one. You can do stuffs over there.
Exactly. Well said. We have one more question from Eganathan, who is asking, like people are saying that AI and stuff is going to take over the world and it's going to replace all UI UX designers. Dude, listen. Uh, People will say anything, okay, but it's your common sense to boil that down and then understand stuff, right? AI and everything is fine, right? But until now, nothing has replaced an human. Okay, whatever AI solutions that you are going to build out, right? It's not going to replace humans in any way, at least in the software development process, right? Designing and all those. AI can only assist you, right? AI will not replace you. AI can only assist you. It makes your life even more easier and not, like uh, replace your entire work, right? Eganathan, does that answer your question? Awesome.
Yeah. We do
We
have
have
another
one more
question.
question from Monish. Uh, okay, ideas apart, how do I transform an exact idea to code? Like creativity may be beyond limits, but how do I bring it everything to code? So this is a very interesting process, converting of your idea to code, right? And this is very pronounced when you are working alone, right? If you're building your own startup or you are doing like like a college project for that matter, right? So in startups and very big companies, what these people do is they basically take their designs and give it to the like team leaders as they call or project managers. These guys will then convert your individual screens into various components, and these guys will write out technical specifications relating to each and every one of them, right? And that technical specification will be taken from them and given it to the developers, right? So as a developer, when you're going into an MNC, you will be just a block in a whole machine. Okay, you'll be just a block, just a processing block. You gain inputs, you spit out outputs, right? So that is how it works in an MNC. But if you are in a startup, right? If you are in a startup which is like, let's say, 5 to 10 people, then that process is even more invigorating to you, right? So you will be basically in touch with your CEOs, you'll be basically in touch with your CTOs, you'll be basically in touch with your designers and everything. So you 5 people, you 10 people gather, sit around a table, and then discuss how we should do this, right? So there's no real cut and right answer to this. Like, how do I transform my ideas into code? But it depends on where you work and it depends on the scenarios that you are going to be in, right? But
And
typically, what's the is one second.
yeah,
Typically, what's the uh, way that the world is moving in is there are some applications which convert your designs that are made in Figma, Sketch, or XD or anything to like a boilerplate code, and on top of it, you can basically write your applications, right? But those tools are not very well matured to like replace the part of transitioning. So it's always on the developer to transition designs from like from designs to actual code. Yes, so now you had something to say.
yeah, Monish. Actually, what I do usually is, if I get some idea how to implement what I do is just take a paper and a pen, jot it all the requirements what your idea has, what your application gonna do, jot it all the requirements whatever you think, and once it's done, just read it again. maybe there might be some duplicates. It will be something somewhere tightly coupled or somewhere loosely coupled. Make it clear everything and separate each and every part. And after separating it, think yourself, how many page does my application or my website should have, and based on that you can do some rough sketches in your papers, like a rough design. I have some button here, there should be a stable of form, whatever, like that. And after that you can start coding it. This might be a bit easy for you to get into step by step thing. This is what I do.
Very well said. Yep, but
Does it
Monish,
answer your question, Monish?
yep, okay, it makes sense to him. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Do anybody else has any questions for me or for Sona? No one? Anybody wants to know like what other fields are there in software engineering and what should I learn for that apart from web development? No one?
Okay, no issues. And guys, if you do have any you need any clarifications regarding what should I do next, what should I study next, how to study, or something like that, we are here to help. Here is our contact details. Like you can contact us anytime. We'll be here to help us. Like we'll be providing a solution. What we give solution to our problems. We'll be helping you out for the same. And in tomorrow's session, what we'll be discussing is, Arvind, can you elaborate what you're gonna discuss in tomorrow's session?
Yep, sure. So whatever Sona has taught you guys now is basically what exactly is web development, right? But if you still feel that you're not in a position to, like align yourselves, if you're still in a position not to like what company should I go, or what will be the work experience in each and every one of the companies. So today was basically like a short intro into the actual stuff, right? So tomorrow I will be speaking with you guys on my life's journey. So it won't be like any blah blah love failure or stuff like that. Okay, so it's going to be purely professional. But what I will be speaking with you guys is how I became what I am today and what measures did I take to like to be in this place. So to give you like a small hint of what I'm saying is, I was hired as a backend engineer in my company, RADICALi Singapore. I was hired as a backend engineer, right? I was not hired as a full stack engineer. I was hired as a backend engineer, and I had to like learn lots of stuff to basically orient my views with the company. Then, when I entered, there was like a deficit in front end engineering, so I had to like basically shift my focus to front end engineering now, right? So then there was an opportunity for me to explore in infrastructure. By infrastructure, I mean cloud infrastructure, AWS, a Google Cloud Platform, and stuff. And I placed my hands on that as well. So now I'm an infrastructure engineer as well, right? Then there was a time when I had to transition to a, like a leading role for my front end engineering team, right? So I was shifted back to front end engineering, and then I led the front end development team. And afterwards, in a couple of months, I had to jump into the product team and design stuff. And that's how I became an UX designer, right? So I wasn't hired as a UX designer, but I within like a span of a year, I am a UX designer who does uh, coding, who does development on websites, who does infrastructure as well, right? So this is what I will be talking to you guys about tomorrow, right? How you can like make these bold decisions, how you can like know if the decisions you are making are correct, right? And this is very important for you guys because software engineering is an ever changing it's an ever changing like a platform, right? Whatever that you learn today, tomorrow it becomes obsolete, right? So you can't say that, okay, I learned 4 years of college, I learned React, I learned Angular and everything. And you can't say that I will sustain for the next 10 years. That is very, very hard, right? No technology in the world, at least software engineering is concerned, no technology in the world has ever been valid for more than, like 5 to 6 years. A new
Mhm.
technology always comes. So it's always very crucial to make decisions. And that is
Correct.
what I will be talking about it in tomorrow's
Sure.
session.
Sure. Arvind, so I'm getting excited to, know about more about tomorrow's session. In fact, this 24 years of my experience is not,
Hmm.
sufficient enough to learn everything in the software industry. There are so many things which are new, and sometimes we feel like, the frog in the well. So we should not be like that. We should be exploring. And I would like to, conclude today's session on very positive note. First and foremost, I would like the six members, those who are watching to us, other than me, Sona and Arvind, to give us a review feedback on our web page itself. Directly, you can go to our site, write your reviews on LinkedIn, guys. That helps us a lot. This is not the thing which, we demand, which we request, that your reviews will benefit hundreds of more, because your friends will come to know about such great initiatives through you. So a humble request, if you can benefit to others just by writing something, it will really help to others. And this platform is nothing but to help at FOC, that is free of charge. And believe me, guys, when certain things are offered at free of charge, people do not take full benefit of it. And that is, I have seen, specifically in our Asian subcontinent. I am right now in Mexico. It doesn't mean that I'm a Mexican. Okay. I think Sona has stopped. Okay, perfect. So I think this picture looks beautiful. So let me just tell that I am, away from India doesn't mean that I am less Indian. But we Indians have a mentality. Like, even if Arvind is in Singapore, we are in, complete opposite part of the world. But we have a common mentality that we do not encourage the free stuff. And the moment we start encouraging that, encouraging each other's effort, encourage each other's value, I think that free will become, much valued thing. I'm going to post a link to the video which I have shared from Shiv Khera. It's a 6 minutes long video. It's worth watching. I think I recommend to every one of you to watch that videos. I think majority of you may have seen a glimpse of it. It's about relationship. Am I audible, guys, or there is a network issue?
Yes, it's perfect.
I'm
Yes,
audible.
sir, you're audible.
Okay. So let me share a couple of things on my screen. So now I'm going to share my
Yes,
screen.
yes, I'll start.
Yes. So this is the video I am sharing. It's a Shiv Khera relationship. I'm not able to share the link. I don't know. Yeah, the link is there. So I'll be copying and pasting it into the chat session. On top of that, as I have said, I request you guys to visit our page. This is the page, the Circle of Legends, and you can comment on the session which has been conducted by uh, Sona and Arvind. We are going to put a couple of more comments also there. We conduct a daily LinkedIn live session. So yesterday's session or even today's session was conducted morning at 7:30, depending on guest availability. He is from Australia, so you can watch our live shows also on our page. At the same time, on Facebook and Instagram also we are equally active. So please visit there, comment there, and do encourage the members, those who are coming forward and helping others. At the same time, I have seen several of you are also from the similar background. So I encourage you also to come on this platform, utilize this platform up to the max, and benefit our fellow country members, those who are in need. There are several people, those who are studying in a far uh, remote areas of India, those who do not have access to such technologies. So be generous, Spend your time and educate them. And believe me, it is called learning by sharing. The more you share, more you will learn. At least you will learn how to present. You will, come out of your presentation like stage fear. So all such things are positive of these sessions. So with this, I am concluding this. I do not want to give too much of the gyan, but I would once again would like to conclude on that note that we are here to share, to learn, to collaborate, and let's enjoy that collaboration. Expect you to post your comments and your good words so that it reaches to the many more students. Thanks a lot. If you have any questions, you can directly reach up to me on my WhatsApp number. My all other details are transparently available. And to my surprise, till to date, in last 24 years, I have not got anyone who comes and bothers me or bugs me, even though my phone numbers are shared on open social media network. People says that do not give phone numbers. People will bother you. But in these 24 years, it is my experience that nobody has bothered me because I have demonstrated that level of integrity, trust, and cooperation. So, with that, let me conclude. My name is Darshan, and let's talk to each other in a future sessions. This video is available live on YouTube. You can reach us to visit to that YouTube video also. The same link will be posted by Sona and Aravind on their post also about the YouTube. I'm posting the couple of links over here. One is that Shivkira video, and another one is the streaming link of this, which also you can share with your friends. If you wish, you can post your LinkedIn link also over here for networking purpose. So in last 2 minutes, we will keep quiet on the name of what you can say, our collaboration. Let's enjoy the collaboration. If you can make your videos on, I'll be really, uh, happy to know your faces. If you can, if you are in a night dress or night gown, it's okay. And not to worry, we will not judge you. Yeah. And I'm stopping the YouTube so that nobody will see